Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. The video that I'm about to share with you is one of the most important videos that you're ever going to see that will cover the future of the United States of America if we do not do something and do it quickly, step up and stop what is happening to our country. You have heard me talk, and you have heard many people on the right and conservatives talk about the rise of Islamic terrorism, the rise of Muslims all across the globe. You look no further than what's happening all across Europe. And then now, right here in America, we have in our own United States Congress, not one, but two newly elected Muslim women, both, by the way, that were sworn in on the Quran. Today, I was blessed, along with my co-host, Chrissy Piccolo, with our radio show, Real World Witness, where we did an interview that you're about to see with Jayda Fransen. A little bit about her. She was born in 1986, and she is the former deputy leader of Britain First. She has been very outspoken over in Europe about the rise of Islamic terrorism and what's happening with them with Sharia law and how they are allowing the Muslims that follow the Quran to the T, basically, to get away with whatever they want under their religious beliefs, such as molesting children. All she has done, all Jayda has done, is spoken up, just like I do when I come to you and tell you the facts of what's happening in our political system in America and across the globe. For speaking up, she has been arrested not once, but several times and served time in jail for speaking up, and they label it as hate speech, only for telling the truth. Well, folks, that is what's going to come to America right here very soon if we do not stop this insanity. I have many Muslim friends, and I know many of you do as well. We welcome Muslims that want to abide by our rules and regulations and our laws, just like we do anyone from any other country. But when you want to come to America and change our policies and change our laws to fit your religion and do away with ours, and furthermore, change the laws that you live under to fit what you were taught in your religious faith, then we have a problem. So folks, please take the time to watch the rest of this video, the interview we did with Jayda, and please share this everywhere you possibly can on social media to get the word out there of what's going to happen right here in America, what's happening to her. Thank you. God bless you. And please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, their families, first responders, our president, and our country. And now I bring you the interview with Jayda Fransen.
You are watching Real World Witness with Chrissy Piccolo and Douglas Ducote, watching history unfold while shining the light on truth and justice and exposing those who wish to crush you.
Welcome to Real World Witness. My name is Chrissy. I am your host. I'm here with my co-host, Doug. Hey, Doug.
Hello, Chrissy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing fabulous.
Well, today is a special edition of Real World Witness. It's March 21st, 2019. Our special guest is Jayda Fransen. She's an activist from Northern Ireland that landed in jail for 9 months after she commented on the trial involving Muslim gang raping children. She has spoken out against the increase in Sharia law within the UK courts and how freedom of speech, nationalism, conservatism, as well as speaking the truth, is rapidly being outlawed, not only in England, but worldwide. She's been targeted and continually harassed, with her latest court appearance scheduled March 29th for hate speech. So welcome, Jayda, to Real World Witness. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, your story is just crazy. I guess why don't you tell the audience sort of how you got into being an activist, you know, what kind of propelled you into this, and then we'll just go on from there.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, so I've been really active for about 5 years. I've been a deputy leader. Previously was a deputy leader of a political party called Britain First. Prior to that, I was just kind of on my soapbox. Certain events triggered my attention. Now, I was quite young when 9/11 occurred, but I think everyone in the world could see that there was a problem there. And then we had 7/7 in the UK, and I remember driving to work. I worked in London, driving to work, and there would be about 5 car spaces between any vehicle and a bus because people were petrified that they were just going to blow up. And so I thought, let me have a look into the ideology that's supposed to be behind this. I was on my soapbox for a few years and just having a good old rant. And then I think the real pivotal moment was when I came home from work one day, the TV was on, sound was off, and there was a guy on the screen who I thought had red gloves on and a meat cleaver in his hand. That was Michael Adebolajo. He had just decapitated one of our Queen's soldiers. That was Lee Rigby. And from that moment on, I thought, this man is standing on national television saying that he's doing this in the name of Allah and Islam, and I would be ignorant at best to ignore what he is saying, right? So at that point, I thought, I'm going to study the Quran and the Islamic scriptures, and it just went from there. I couldn't understand why everybody didn't do the same, to be fair. So the last 5 years or so, I've been politically active and campaigning against just basically the Islamification of the UK, along with a lot of other issues. But see, you speak about Islam in the UK, you go to jail, that's it.
Yeah, it's just insane. I mean, you just got out of jail. You were in jail for 9 months. And then I saw a video where you went back, I guess, to go for Christmas, and they arrested you again. There was another warrant out for your arrest. I was like, what the heck is this? I mean, they're basically harassing you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had to serve a full 9-month sentence last year for giving out leaflets to a local community to let them know that 4 gang rapists were living in their area and they were on bail. They'd raped a child. A child went into their fast food restaurant, asked for directions. Instead of giving her directions, they kidnapped her and raped her. These guys are all doing 14 years in jail each, but they'd been bailed. And they were still living and running the same shop that the child had gone into. So I just gave a few leaflets out to the neighbours, and I confronted these guys. I got 9 months in jail for harassing gang rapists, right?
Which is insane.
I think that, like, serving 9 months would be enough. You get out and you can go home. My home is in Northern Ireland. I went home to Northern Ireland, and from that date, I finished my full sentence on the 14th of November. From that date until now, I have been hauled in front of the court. I've been arrested on aeroplanes. I have been just completely harassed. I'm currently on the run. I've been unlawfully at large for from the beginning of February. This was the case prior to the last trial. And it's all because I just want to live in my own house after having served my prison sentence.
Right.
So,
it's ridiculous. I mean,
madness.
Well, what do you think is the biggest? How did these people end up migrating there and pretty much taking over? Because the UK, as I understand it, their court system, you know, they have sections of Sharia that they accommodate Islam. How do you think that all happened? I mean, do you think it's just purely these globalists that are in control of the government? I mean, how did it get to this point? I guess is a good question. In your opinion.
Well, look, I guess the fact is, if you take into account mass immigration, which is what we've had in the UK, and then you couple that with appeasement and a 2-tier legal system whereby one sect of society is given protected status, and that's anyone that follows Islam, and the rest are in a different category. It's pure appeasement. You touched on something a minute ago and said about the courts or the country allowing some avenue for Sharia.
Yeah.
We have a parallel legal system in the UK. We have hundreds and hundreds of Sharia courts across the UK that will settle the law for Muslims. So here we have the only section of society in Great Britain that is not bound. Now, the government would say she's lying, they are bound by the law. They are not bound by the law. These Sharia courts, they hold hearings for men that have beaten their wives, battered their wives, and the CPS are being told by the imams, leave this with us, we'll deal with it, otherwise it's going to stir up resentment in the community. Yeah. The CPS are walking back and saying these women have been kicked shit out of by these husbands, and an imam is sitting there telling her, I'm going to reside over this, and 9 times out of 10, if not more, it's because you probably deserved it, love. We all know what the Quran says, right? Beat your wife.
Right. It's just, that's sickening. And, and that's the other thing. Where are all, what people don't understand is that Islam is so different from anything in Western culture, Western civilization. And the fact that they are completely allowing this two-tiered system is insane. And, it's going to happen here in the US. They're moving towards that here. And the thing is like, in my opinion, it's not a religion. It's an ideology. It's a way of life. And if you're going to be that, if you want to, my, I guess, feeling is like, if you want to practice Islam, you go in your own country. Why are they coming, they're to take over our cultures,
well,
and like,
that's very clear. I studied the Islamic scriptures, the Quran and the Hadith, and that is very clear. That the answer to that is so simple. It says in the Quran that Muslims are not allowed to settle. They're not allowed to stay peacefully in their own lands. The ultimate goal of every Muslim has to be world domination for Islam, and they have to spread the ideology, and they do that through jihad. And jihad is described as full, fighting the disbelievers until there is no fitna, no disbelief, and everyone's for Allah, with full force and weaponry. They are not allowed to stay in their comfort zone, even though it might be some, absolute hellhole. They have to spread, and they have to go to the West, where they are repulsed by our values. They are repulsed by our democracy. They are repulsed by the freedoms that, and the freedom that men fought, bled, and died for us to have. They're repulsed by that, but they have to come, and they have to dominate. So they won't integrate, they won't assimilate because they can't, they're not allowed to. And the fact is, if you look at a very small minority of nations, like Poland, for example, is kind of a bit of a stronghold. You have to look at the map. There are maps showing the Islamic terrorist attacks across the years, and you've got just parts of Europe where it's pretty much untouched. Poland's one of them. But wherever you embrace and appease this ideology, it's going to spread. And aside from that, right, and this is the thing, because I'm at the point now, I've done 5 years of campaigning about Islamic extremism, grooming gangs, Sharia, halal slaughter, all of it, right? I've done all of that, and there's not a soul, I think, in the world, unless they're a fucking ostrich and they've got their head on a permanent basis. Right. There's anyone that doesn't know that there's a problem with Islam. Yeah. You have to look at the main issue, and the issue is, of course, these people are going to come and colonise entire cities of the UK because they're being allowed to do so. Right. And so why not? First of all, it says they have to. But secondly, when it's being made so easy for them to do, and they're getting jihad seekers allowance from the government, or that's what they call it, job seekers allowance, jihad seekers allowance. They're getting housing, free healthcare. If they want a mosque, they get a mosque. If they want a Sharia court, they get a Sharia court. If they want halal meat, they get halal meat. Well, everyone bends over backwards. Yeah. And I don't blame the Muslims. They're having a whale of a time. Why not? So that's why people struggle with it and say, why do they come and into our democracy and try and change it? So they have to. They've got no choice.
Yeah. Doug, well, he served in our military. Doug, you want to how do you feel about all of that? Because
Well, a quick question. Okay, here in America, we have two parts of government with Congress members and senators, the House and the Senate. And we recently had our first two Muslim women that were accepted, or that won elections to join the House. Do they have that same thing there? Or is the actual government system? I mean, I hear you say that they're separate Sharia courts, but are they allowing Muslims to become leaders in the current government of anywhere in Europe, like we're doing here now?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are actually behind us. I mean, we're leading the way on putting Muslims in charge. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has stood on platforms with Islamic extremists. He has stood side by side with known Islamic extremists, people that are members of prescribed organizations. He stood with them. We've the Home Secretary. The majority of mayors throughout the countries, we have like mayors in different cities, right? The majority of them are Muslim. And then when you've got, you've the main mayor of London, and then you go across the country, and there are all these Islamic leaders who are basically in charge of the councils, of the local councils. So what they do is they just ensure that all of the positions that people are in around them are occupied by Muslims, and it's finished. I'm telling you, it's finished. It's not. See, I said the day that Sadiq Khan got voted as London mayor, I said London fell. But in fairness, London has been London's gone. It's been gone for a long time. But see, the UK, it's been destined to fall since we lost our backbone and forgot the sacrifice that our men made for us, and we just gave it all away. Because even looking at, and since, do you know what it is? Since we turned away from God, in my opinion, our apostate nation is going absolutely nowhere. God's taken his hand off of it because it's turned into just not even liberal, just complete degeneracy. I mean, and that's on the right wing as well. The right wing's been completely bastardized. Everybody's up to no good. And the birth rate, the reproduction rate is so low that we cannot even sustain, let alone build our population. It's finished. Demographics, you can't beat demographics, right? You can fight in a war, you can fight physical human beings, you can fight with weapons and tanks and planes and bombs. You can't fight demographics. If the people don't exist, you can't win.
Right, exactly. And here, I mean, that's what I think the main reason that President Trump is fighting so hard for this immigration reform here. I mean, that's what they're trying to do, is come in here and just flood us. And they're, like you said, they're not willing to assimilate. And our freedoms here are on, I mean, conservatives, we're getting shut down left and right. I mean, Doug and Dustin, I mean, my Twitter was completely obliterated on social media. And people don't understand that all of this connects to complete and total control over our lives and taking over America. That's what the Democrats are for. That's what they want to get rid of our Constitution. And then how do you fundamentally change a country? You put people from that believe in that are Islamic. You put people in these big, high positions of government. And that's what they did over there in England. And that's what is slowly happening here. I mean, these three congresswomen are just out of their minds. I can't even believe, I mean, they're allowed to wear a hijab, and they were sworn in on the Quran, not the Bible. And that's the other thing, like you mentioned, the fact that, God is being taken out of the equation. And that's when anarchy begins, because,
God's been removed from our schools, from our court systems,
sports, everything. And, I mean.
The thing is, right, when you remove God in such a calculated and a dramatic way, which is what they've done, they've attacked it started off with this cultural Marxist agenda, but now it's just turned into an absolute shit show because nobody actually really knows what they're doing. That is an overhang from an era that is now gone. There are no real world leaders backing that cultural Marxist agenda as it was that we've seen in former eras. Now there's just this overhang of people on the left who are kind of still pushing that liberal anything goes, but they don't know why. There's not actually an agenda. And this is what I always say. With that Marxist agenda, I don't like it, right? I don't buy into it. But it was a thing and it was legitimate and it was a plan. Now they don't have a plan. The plan is just do whatever you want. They are self-serving, they are self-idolizing. And this is why we've got our kids being taught that they can choose their gender, they can choose their race. People in this country are choosing their age. I mean, what next? Like, when I just wake up tomorrow and decide to be a first-class stamp, like, where does this lunacy end? And it's all because when you take away any sort of moral compass and you take away God from a nation, a people, they are their own gods. They make their own rules. And of course, let's face it, right? We're all horrible sinners, right? Well, this is I'm not knocking anyone. I'm a horrible sinner. I'm going to speak for myself. I don't want to offend, right? But I'm a Christian and I love God. But I am a horrible sinner and I accept that and I know that and I'm, ashamed of it, but that is the fact. And God gave us free will so that we could, we have that capability. But see, you just contemplate for a minute being the master of your own destiny and having no consequences and being able to pretty much within the confines of the law, which is being tailored to suit this sick agenda, right? Being able to do what you like. Where does it end? We've got, the level of degeneracy on our streets is incredible and it's being promoted, whether it's with the LGBTQP agenda, whether it's with forcing gay marriage in churches, whether it be pushing abortion, discouraging the family, bit by bit by bit by bit. The future generations are ruined. What have they got to look forward to? They won't exist. That's the crux of it. Right. They won't exist.
Well, look at this young kid they have prancing around, 10 years old. The parents are out here, let him, transgender, dressed in crazy outfits, whatever, selling tickets, allowing these child molesters and,
I know, I saw it. It was, and it is child abuse. Where are the authorities going to look at this and say, but see now, any normal, rational state of mind would look at that and say, this is a young boy. I think he was 11, 10. I saw this. I was horrified. Yeah. And there's all these lecherous trans. I don't know what they were. Right. I don't really get all that carry on, but I know that it's not quite right. So the parents themselves are sick, but the authorities to sit back and allow this. It's the same. You know what? It's as bad as the principle of Rotherham in this country. The authorities allowed 1,600 girls to be groomed and raped by Muslim immigrants in this country. And there's no different to that. There's no different to the Catholic priests. There's no different to these people that are. There's no difference.
It isn't. It is. And it's disgusting. And I don't understand why aren't we, whatever happened to protecting the children? You're
killing the children over in the States now, aren't you? I think when the worst state that a nation can get into is when not only it justifies abortion is the most abhorrent act, right? But and trying to justify abortion at any level, even if it's the morning after pill, I campaign heavily to try and teach people that is not preventative, that is abortive. It's not a method of contraception. It is after the event. It is abortive. Right. Then they say, right, well, the authorities say, okay, well, you can abort up to X amount of weeks, and then it gets pushed and pushed and pushed. And I have seen representatives over in the United States standing up and saying, we are basically, we're going to kill children. We're going to, when they're born, we are going to kill them. I've seen them stand up and try and state their case for the fact that they'll do full-term abortions, but if there is a chance this child is born, they will kill them. That's murder.
It's murder. And they're normalizing all this, which is just crazy. And people are just like, oh, okay. It's insanity. I just, it's basically hell on earth. That's what it is. Because when you have a section millions of people now. I mean, you've got the Satanism going on massively, especially in Hollywood out here. You know, it's running rampant. And you've got, you know, all. Anyway, it's just crazy. I forgot what my point of view. What we're going to say.
Let me ask you this: besides bringing awareness, which we do on a regular basis with our show and individually, is there anything that we can do to help with your cause?
Good question.
Mine specifically, or ours, or
yours as well as the entire nation over there for what you're experiencing, because you're way worse off than we are, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first step is to raise awareness. Now, that's been done on a really basic level. Everyone knows about Islam. Everybody knows kids are getting groomed and raped. And by the way, that's not stopped. You know, Here's the problem. You can raise awareness all day long. You can do that. You can spend 5 years of your life like I have doing that. You can go to jail for it. You can come out of jail and still do it. And I still stand out in the street and say, where are the men? Where are the men?
Yeah.
Where's the fathers, the brothers, the uncles, the grandparents, the cousins, the nephews? Where are all of those people of the victims of these grooming attacks? I mean, because we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of kids in each town. So it's not like a small thing. So raising awareness, of course, at the moment is pretty much at the top of the agenda. But I'm not talking awareness just about what's going on, because you can read the news, right? That's in the news. I think what we need to do is we need to start. Tough love is what's needed in this country. We haven't suffered. This is a problem with the UK. We haven't suffered in a long time. We fought in the 2 world wars and we won. We've not known the level of oppression that, say, the likes of, I don't know, like Poland or Hungary have experienced. You go to those countries and you can see it. You can see it on the faces of people that are still standing, living and breathing in front of you, that have lived under extreme oppression, whether it's, you know, socialism, communism. They've lived under that. They've lived under that tyranny. And we in the UK have had it too easy for too long, and we've gone soft. And so one of my main objectives, and this is a bit of a touchy subject, but one of my main objectives, and I'm hoping that this can be delivered in a way that won't cause too much offence, right? Because you know me, I don't like to offend. Yeah. Right? The nation needs the men of this island, and I'm not talking about Northern Ireland, because at the moment I'm on the island of Ireland, and I'm not referring to that because this is a bit of a different kettle of fish. But I'm from England, on the mainland. Mm-hmm. We need the men there to man up, and I mean man up big styling. And however that message needs to be delivered, if it needs to be delivered by a woman, then so be it, because I'm going to do it, right?
Right.
I don't understand where the men have gone. I don't understand why I'm running down the street chasing Islamic extremists whilst the men are wherever. I don't know where they are. Are they in the pub? Are they in the gym?
Yeah, they're in the pub. They're in the pub shooting darts. Right? Oh, what's going on?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love the pub, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not one of these Christians that's going to go, you have a drink and you're going to hell. Look, right?
Right.
I'm Catholic, right? So rosary in one hand, glass of wine in the other. That's how it is. Okay? I'm not knocking the booze, but right. There's a time for the sesh, and there's a time for action, and there's a time for force. And this isn't a call to arms before the state go nuts, but there's been no show of strength from the men of this nation. It's like what's happened over here is we've got the state who have infiltrated every single element of life over here. They are teaching our children, so the younger generations, but it's also trickling through to even adulthood, because a lot of people are lost and they don't know what they're doing. They've got no identity. You're not allowed an identity in England. You can't say, or on the mainland, you can't say I'm British, because then that means you're a racist, right? If you're proud to be British. Right. You can't say like I'm proud to be white or black, because obviously if you say you're proud to be white, you're racist. If you're proud to be black, fine. If you say you're proud to be black and British, you probably still racist, right? Probably.
Yeah, right.
So you can't be proud of anything.
Yep.
You can't be proud of your gender, because you can't have a gender, really.
Right.
What you're encouraged to do is embrace your feelings and go into your safe space and cry. You know, we want to see our men cry. We want to see them get to their feminine side. And then on the flip side, the women, you don't need a man. You're independent. Men are all evil. We're feminists, right? We want get rid of all the men. Just kill them all because they're all just bastards. See that? That's genocide. That's what that is. It's genocide.
It is.
And that is the absolute lunacy that we're dealing with in the UK. And so the only way to help our plight is to bring our people, and I keep going back to it, bring our people back to God, but just back to normality and to, that's it.
Well, just to your core values. I mean, that's what this whole thing with President Trump is trying to do, is trying to move us back to when our country was birthed, you know, what our values, our traditions, our morals are, you know. And I do a series called, I just started to do a series called Between the Lines, propaganda. We are propagandized like you would not believe in television and movies here. If they want some kind, every single ideology that's out there as far as with the far left, it's all peppered into every single show that there is. And in fact, I'm going to talk about this later tonight, but you know, on American Idol, they had this woman come in, this kid, 16, 17 years old, I think. I can't remember how old she was, but anyway, came in and sang American Privilege. And that song, if you look at the lyrics, it's all about, I apologize for being a white man, and you know, America, we're overindulgent. I mean, it was just disgusting, and it made me so angry. But the thing that made me more angry is that then right after she sang this song against the country, basically, and against white people, and against, you know, our very foundation, Katy Perry stood up and says, "Oh, hey, you know, I love that song." And what do you think that did? That is like, oh my God. Okay, so you have American Idol, which is a worldwide platform. You've got a huge star, Katy Perry, that has millions of young teen followers. And what do you think they did? They went and probably purchased that song on iTunes. And that's the beginning, the seeds of this. And that's what's starting to happen here. And so, you know, even just anyway, I could give you a million examples. And so that's how they indoctrinate. That's how they put people, they make people go into complacency. This whole, you're right, you know, with the women, all these movies, you know, strong women. And I'm not saying, I think it's great, you know, be a strong woman, you know, be your own woman. But I mean, we have to emasculate our men, and the men are supposed to just, you know, have a tutu on and run down the street like a fairy. I don't know.
Yesterday, I saw, and I don't even know who this was. I caught just the very end of it, but it was someone in the UK that was interviewing on their couch for this interview was 3 American women. And the interviewer was trying to understand why they supported Donald Trump. And he finally reached the point when he realized that they did support him, and no matter what he was going to say was going to change that. He went to the whole thing about look, he said, you know, he was okay with grabbing a pussy. So therefore, how is, you know, you still support after that? And one of the women said, and this was just so classic, she said, that's the whole thing here, is we have a president finally that's not a pussy.
Woo!
And it was just like,
I love it.
Wow. Yeah. You know, men be men, stand the hell up.
Yeah.
And stop being a pussy.
Yep.
Absolutely. Do you know what? Well said. And it needs saying. And you know, this whole thing about grabbing, do you know what? First and foremost, this is what all the journalists over here, they love to use that as an example of why women shouldn't like him. Let's be brutal here, right? I have a lot of male friends. And listen, you know, you're on your WhatsApp group chats. Yeah. I have male friends, I have female friends, I have mixed groups. I don't know who's worse, actually. In fairness, ladies, if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes,
I know who's worse. You see, when men are having a private conversation and they say something like that, and then they become the president of the United States, and that's the worst that you've got on them. See, there are some women that will go, yeah, he could do that to me. No worries, because he's a man.
Yeah.
at least he's not grabbing his own, right? Yeah. That's what he's doing. So I think there's this misconception in the UK, and we are a bit prudish. I am quite prudish. Like these WhatsApp groups, honestly, I turn red every time I turn the phone on. But I am prudish, and it is a culture in the UK, Britain, that we're very kind of reserved. And so I can see why they use that as an example to shock people. But I mean, if legitimately they are not having even those thoughts or conversations with their pals, what's going on? I'm worried. Like, what are they doing? Stealing our eyeliner and talking about that? Like, God help us.
Exactly. I mean, and the fact of the matter is that, they've obliterated the family unit. And that's another issue, it starts with the family unit and teaching your kids to have values and morals. But when you have absentee parents and they just throw them in the indoctrination education system here, that's where it's like, oh, okay, anything goes. Oh, I feel like a Bambi today. I mean, like, what the hell? And I mean, why aren't the parents paying attention?
I want to identify as a Teletubby at the library.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just insane. And the thing is, right, you have to laugh, because here's the thing. I was talking to a friend of mine the other evening, and this guy's really switched on, right? He's one of us, I'd say. Like, when you just, people know. There's a very few of us in the world, but he knows.
Yeah.
And he was saying, look, over a certain IQ, you're screwed, because you're too switched on to what's going on around you. Ignorance must be bliss. Like this whole ostrich effect. If I can go to the pub and take the kids to school and watch the X Factor and go on a holiday, then it doesn't matter that kids are getting scraped off the wall of a Manchester arena. It doesn't matter that my kids are being told they can choose their gender. Imagine your child coming home, the teacher has said, you don't have to identify as a boy or a girl, you choose. And coming home and saying, there's 86 different genders on this sheet and you need to learn them all. And like,
it's ridiculous.
I have to, at some point, we've got to take responsibility for our actions and our children. If these people are going to completely indoctrinate and radicalize our children into those ideologies, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror. I don't know how half the people in this nation, any of them, are able to send their kids to mainstream school. No way.
Yep. It's insanity.
I mean, I'm blessed that my kids now are all grown up and in college, and some of them are out of college now. But if I was having to go through this all over again today, I would be in jail, because I would go to school and beat the living shit out of some teachers. From what I'm hearing, parents just letting it go. So they taught my kid that it's okay that you can invert your penis and be a girl today, and reading class.
It's like so insane. Well, and then here, there were just actually yesterday, I just read an article. There was somebody, I don't know where it was though. I'm like really bad, but a parent sued a school for basically jamming pro-Islam down their kid's throat, and they won in court. And I was like, thank God, I mean, I don't understand this, we can't have God in our schools, but okay, but Islam's okay. Like, they're saying that it's more political than it is religion, but it's ridiculous.
Here's how bad this is in the UK, and this is a first-hand experience. My godchildren, one of my godchildren a couple of years ago, she goes to a Christian school. She's a Christian. She's been baptized. She's been raised a Christian, and she goes to a Church of England school. She lives in a Christian nation.
She did.
Totally, right?
It used to be, yeah.
She got sent home for the Easter holidays. The Easter holidays, which is the most important period of the Christian year, right? The Easter holidays, with a piece of homework that said the holiest month of the year is Ramadan.
What?
This was during
my God.
It was almost like they sat there and said, "How outrageous can we go?"
Yeah.
Like, sending that home just on a Friday night is going to cause a shitstorm, right? In my house anyway.
Yeah.
But see the absolute best result we can get to antagonize people, and to see how complacent and how weak they are, is we're going to send that home with their kids from a Christian school during the Easter holidays and see how many people complain. I've got to be careful, right? Because Doug, I'm with you on the whole jail thing.
Right.
And these, they're not mine, they're my godchildren, but it was dealt with. But see the amount of people that don't even look at their kids' homework because the family unit's broken down. And I'm not knocking anyone, because society is very different these days, and it's a shame. But the family unit's broken down. Marriage and divorce, it's all just huge people. Relationships are just a commodity. You just you get them and you get rid of them just as quickly as you would, a Subway. It's like, I don't want that anymore, chuck it in the bin. And there are humans that are affected as a result of that. And we have a huge population of people where we've got a massive problem with homelessness with children within the United Kingdom. The Christmas before last, 150,000 children were homeless at Christmas.
Oh my God.
Now, you can't justify that when we're bringing anyone into the country. And I sound like I'm banging the same drum, like, oh, stop bringing the immigrants in and the Muslims. Right. I mean, anyone. You bring anyone into the country over that homeless child and house them over that homeless child, it's insanity. So, I mean, couple that with abortion, which is just basically killing children.
Yeah. Right.
We don't, the government actively encourage us to kill them, encourage us, our women not to have them, encourage our men to behave like them, and then completely ruin the minds of the ones that we've got at the moment. We're screwed.
It's disgusting. I mean, can I ask you real quick before I let you go? What do you think about the Brexit? The fact that, wasn't it 149 vote yesterday to no deal, to exit the EU over there? What were your thoughts about that?
I was a mad Brexiteer, campaigned heavily for Brexit, and I'll never forget two moments in my life. It was when I realised that Brexit had happened, and when I realised that Trump had happened.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I sat up for both of them, and I partook in a few beverages.
I think all of us did.
Like easy impending blow, just in case it was to happen. But I did go and I thought, this is going to happen. I don't know why, and I should have put money on it, because I could be,
Yeah, you'd be rich right now.
Right? I'm on the run. I'll be giving you this interview from a yacht. But no, I think Brexit's not going to happen. It's just, we're not going to get it. And this is just a very sorry state of affairs. But again, it boils down to, where are the men? 17.4 million people voted to leave. I was one of them. I campaigned heavily. These are our democratic rights. My grandfather fought the Nazis and Hitler so that we could live in a democracy. We didn't live under a dictatorship. We had freedom, and we had democratic rights. And see, when you exercise those democratic rights and they're being taken away from you. And over the last 2.5 years, it's been made a mockery and a circus, just so that they could say, right, let's all call time on this, have some time out, and then we'll have another vote.
Right.
After we've done 3 years or 4 years or 5 years of scaremongering. Yeah. So, but it boils down to, where is everyone? Where are the men? Why aren't people
standing up?
Saying this, apart from me, why is no one saying we voted for this? And there are lots of people that online are saying, social media, and there's some people joining on the streets, but it's just not enough. People don't care.
Well, I think people just need to, especially here, people need to start standing up. I mean, if you want your freedoms and you don't want to end up like what you've got over there with a two-tiered different, court system, different rules for different people. I mean, the bottom line is that if you don't follow the Quran, if you don't, embrace Islam, they're going to kill you. Bottom line, that's what their job is. They feel they're going to, kill the West. That's what they want. And that's what's happening. And people need to wake up. I mean, if we don't want that here, we've got, these people that were, these 3 women that are now, in our Congress, it's disgusting, and they just radical, ridiculous, crazy. The new Green Deal. Let's get rid of planes. Let's get rid of cars. Let's get rid of cows. Just so asinine that these people I go to bed at night scratching my head like, what the hell is going on? And then to see what's going on over there in England, it's heartbreaking. I always thought, oh, one day I'll go over to England and see it. Well, I guess not, because I can't even imagine going over there now. And it's very, very sad, and people just need to wake up.
Chrissy, we're on their no-fly list.
I know,
yeah,
right?
I was going to say,
it's not happening.
I was sitting here thinking, how can I tactfully put this to her? Right, but you know me, I say it as I see it, right? You're not getting in, love. You're not getting in.
There's no way.
Especially after this.
Yes,
if you don't chat with me, you're not getting in. Sorry about that. We'll have to meet in the middle somewhere to have a good old rant face to face. But we certainly and the sad reality is that after serving 9 months for exposing a load of gang rapists, the sad reality is I'm probably not going to get over to you either.
I know.
So and what is this about? What is this? And whether you have to look at this and just say, this is the way I look at things, is these impending trials. I've got this judgment coming up next Friday, and I expect I will be in prison next Friday, and I'm looking at up to a year. I don't know what I'll get. And then after that, I've also got warrants out in England, so they want to lock me up for, I don't know how that's going to be. And I just think this is all because I'm speaking. I haven't hurt anyone, I haven't incited any hate, I haven't incited any violence. Earth possess them. The media call it white flight, but what on earth possessed them to go, we're going to just chip off? Where's the fighting spirit? And so I'm just pleading with anyone watching outside of the UK, just if it hasn't happened, it's going to. If you allow it, don't let it. Just don't.
Yeah,
very well said.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck with your court date. I'll pray that you get nothing, but I know that's not going to happen, unfortunately.
It would be a first. So if it happens, the power of prayer will be illustrated right in that moment. But I appreciate
Are you allowed visitors in jail there?
Yeah. Well, we can't get over there.
Well, last time they threw me down the block. Just took me straight into the jail and went, you're going down the block. So that's the place where isolation, like 24-hour lockup, where you go if you misbehave. I just got put down there. And then I don't think it helped when they got me out of the cell and said, there's a load of Islamic terrorists upstairs. What are you going to do? I said, I'm going to kill them. I was basically trying to say, if they try and kill me, I'm going to obviously try and kill them first. Right? May have come across slightly blunt. And as a result of that, I spent 6 weeks down that block, which was me and the Lord. But I did, when I managed to get out on a wing, which was interesting, people trying to kill me and all sorts there. I did actually get an opportunity to have a couple of visitors on my last stitch, towards the very end of the 9 months. A couple of people came to see me, and who knows what will happen this time? Who knows? It's just such a kind of bizarre set of circumstances. I just embrace all of it. So if you ever manage to sneak in, or if you're going to bust me out of that jail, then make sure you get the right cell.
Well, I'm getting ready here next week to go down to the border with Texas and Mexico to interview some border agents and show exactly what we're up against with what's happening on our southern border. So that in itself is going to probably steer my life out of America.
Yeah.
So if I end up where you're at, I will close out my life with doing an interview with you, and then maybe we'll be in a jail cell together.
Look, I reckon one day, I've no idea where this is going to be, and I'm not actually going to give the state any advance notice, but one day we're all going to meet in the middle somewhere, and because we'll all be in exile or and we'll all just kind of have to sit back and watch it all burn, and then and deal with it from afar. But that's the reality. Like, the reality is, you stick your head above the parapet and point out the goings on, then you're looking at the same fate that I'm facing. But hats off to you all, because you clearly don't give the monkeys, and I love that.
Well, we're definitely going to continue to spread the news. We're going to continue to press your cause, and
Yes.
you're going to continue to be in our thoughts and prayers, and everything we can do to get the word out there that what is happening, not only here in America, what's happening in Britain and all over Europe, but what's happening to you, the people need to hear. And I promise you they will.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And if any of your viewers want to stay in touch, as I explained earlier, I've left the party that I was in a leadership role of for 5 years. It was the right time to do that, and I'm very pleased with that decision. I've got a lot of exciting things coming. I've just launched a new platform. I've been deplatformed on every element of social media. I think I've got an Instagram account.
Woo!
So I have a new there's a new website. Any of your guys that are interested, you go on, subscribe. It's free. Just follow me. Just put your details in, and then that enables me to stay in touch with you. It's jaydafransen.online, and that is my platform. That is my way to let the world know what's happening to me, what's happening to my country, and to reach out and stay in touch with you guys. So jaydafransen.online. Stay in touch with me.
Yes.
Yeah,
we will.
A lot more to tell.
We will. You hang in there, and God bless you for doing everything that you're doing. Seriously, you're a brave woman, very brave woman.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's it for Real World Witness, and we'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time for our regular show, and we will be rerunning this interview. So thanks again, and we're out of here. See you in a little bit, guys.
God bless everyone.
You are watching Real World Witness with Chrissy Piccolo and Douglas Ducote, watching history unfold while shining the light on truth and justice and exposing those who wish to